name is Jack Aydelott. I'm a chef in the Conferences and Catering Department at the University of New Hampshire. I'm here to show you a very simple and easy to make recipe today that only uses a couple of very easy to find ingredients, which is good since we're all trapped at home right now. We'll be making roasty or rusti potatoes. It's a Swiss potato pancake that's kind of a cross between latkes and hash browns. It's a family tradition. Generally it'd be made in the morning by my dad, and we'd be having it with breakfast, eggs, bacon, sausages, and that sort of thing. But in Switzerland you'd also find it served après-ski, maybe with a nice strong cheese and a dry crisp bottle of wine. You'd find it on the ski slopes in the middle of the day, being served with sausages and onions. And in private practice I've used it for dinners. I've made it with all different types of potatoes. We're going to be using Yukon Gold today, but I've also used red potatoes, Peruvian purple potatoes when I want to be really crazy. The one potato variety I don't generally use are russets, and that's because russet potatoes tend to absorb a lot of water, and because we're going to be boiling these or steaming these, they can sometimes be a little bit troublesome. So I find Yukon Gold's kind of the gold standard for potatoes for this recipe. In addition to the Yukon Golds, we'll be using a cooking fat. I'm going to be using olive oil and butter. Generally in Switzerland they'd be using butter, but I like the flavor of the olive oil as it comes into the dish. You can also use bacon drippings. You can use duck fat, which is absolutely spectacular if you have some. And if you want to keep it vegan, of course, you can just use olive oil or even plain canola oil, but the olive oil, once again, adds a nice flavor. For seasonings, we're going to keep it very simple today, just using kosher sea salt and freshly ground black pepper. But once again, if you have a particular seasoning that you like, or you're doing maybe Spanish omelets, maybe you want to have a little cilantro in there, a little bit of paprika, touch of cumin, you can pretty much do anything you want. This is quite a versatile dish. I'm just going to be showing you the very basic way of doing it, and from there on, you can add your own special touches. So we're going to start by peeling the potatoes. Pretty easy. I'm going to use a peeler. You can use a knife if you'd like, but I find that knives tend to result in a bit more waste. So I'm just going to be peeling the potato, but I don't need it to be perfect. Now if you want your potato perfectly peeled, by all means go ahead. You have more time than I do, and since we're going to be cooking these in a pan and it's going to be nice and brown and golden at the end, a couple of potato peelings don't matter. What you do have to make sure you get rid of are the eyes. And if you have this type of peeler, it's going to have a little eye hook on it. I can just snap those right out. And once again, notice, not perfect, little pieces of skin here and there, that's just fine. So I'm going to do probably about 5 pounds of potatoes. Should be enough to take care of around 10 people easily, unless they're big eaters. And hey, always make more than you need because it reheats really, really well. Okay, I finished peeling the potatoes. I've cut some of the larger potatoes down to size so that they're more similar to the smaller ones, so everything cooks at roughly the same speed. I'm going to be steaming the potatoes today using a steamer basket. You can boil them. Most of my life my parents have boiled the potatoes, but I do find that carrying pots of hot boiling water with hot potatoes in them over to a sink that you then have to drain very quickly can be pretty troublesome. Whereas with a steamer basket, when they're done, you just pick up the steamer basket, bring it over to the sink, drain off a little bit of the liquid, and put it on a sheet pan. So if you have an opportunity to steam the potatoes, I do highly recommend it. Otherwise, you can boil them. So I'm going to put the steamer basket into this pot of boiling water that's been salted. Cover it tightly, and we're going to wait about 10 minutes, and then we'll check the potatoes for doneness. We're going to be par cooking these potatoes. It's very important that we only par cook. Any more than that, and you might as well make mashed potatoes because you're not making roasty at that point. And yes, I've been there. So I checked the potatoes after 10 minutes. They weren't done. Checked them after 15. Still not quite there. 20 minutes, perfect. So when you're checking the potatoes, you're going to want to grab one out. Take a thin tined fork or a very thin paring knife, put it into the potato. You want it to go through the outer side of the potato very easily, but reach a lot of resistance on the inside. We want it to be relatively hard on the inside or firm, just a little tiny bit cooked. The reason for that is we're going to be shredding these, and we need the potatoes to be par cooked or underdone so that we get nice strands of potatoes. If they're fully cooked, they're going to shred, and basically at that point they're not roosty anymore. You could turn them into potato pancakes maybe, or just keep cooking them, and everybody gets mashed potatoes for dinner that evening. So these potatoes are going to be put onto a sheet pan. With a steamer I can just take it right out like that. Now they need to cool off. So I highly recommend not putting hot steaming potatoes into your refrigerator. You can really overload the compressor that way, and suddenly half your vegetables are frozen in the morning. Best bet, put them outside on the deck or in an unheated garage if it's in the cooler months, which is often times when we're cooking roasty potatoes. If they do have to go into the refrigerator, please leave them at room temperature, maybe 10 minutes. Let the steam, let all of that heat evaporate off the potatoes, and your refrigerator will like that a lot better. So put them in the refrigerator, uncovered, let them cool completely before we shred them. So I did mention a couple days ago I prepped a lot of these items. There's no reason to be doing this in the morning. Nobody wants to be peeling potatoes, steaming potatoes, shredding potatoes at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's not a great way to start your day, and it's a lot easier to screw things up, especially if you haven't had that first cup of coffee. So I did do a couple potatoes ahead of time, so I can give you an example of how we're going to shred these. Now, we're going to use a cheese grater, a food grater. This one, a little too tiny. This is probably the size you normally have in a household kitchen. It's fine for a few people. When you're doing large groups, maybe 15 pounds of potatoes, this takes an awful lot of time. So I have a larger grater here. It has bigger teeth. You have to be a little bit more careful using it, but you're going to get some really wonderful strands of potato. In addition to using hand graters, you can also use a food processor. Just use the grating rack on top, and don't turn it on until you actually have loaded potatoes into the chute. So load the potatoes in the chute, turn it on, push them through quickly, turn it off. The reason you don't have it running constantly is you don't want the potato kind of bouncing and chipping in there as you put them in. You want to have nice long strands and not little tiny pieces. So I'm going to use a hand grater. I've done this quite a bit, so it's pretty quick for me to do. And I'm just going to shred it. Now I'm going to hold this as I do it because I don't want the camera to shake while it's happening, but certainly when you do it, please make sure it's on the countertop. So just going to run the potato across the teeth. I'm going to fold my fingertips up away from the teeth, tuck my thumb in, and just hold the potato in like that. As it gets down, becomes smaller, just going to turn it over and run it again just like that. Get some beautiful strands. And when it gets to be too small a piece that you're not comfortable, stop. Believe me, 20 cents worth of potatoes, not the bandages worth the bandages you're going to have in your fingertips. So see these beautiful strands? I'm going to put these onto a sheet pan, cover it, and put it into the refrigerator until I need them. And once again, you can easily do this 2 days ahead of time so that morning everything's ready to go and all you have to do is cook up the roasty. I have a non-stick pan heating up at medium on my gas stove top. I recommend everybody start at medium whether you're using electric or induction. I do recommend non-stick pans. They're a lot easier to work with. But if you have a nice seasoned carbon steel pan, rock on. This is now nice and hot. I'm going to add a little bit of cooking fat. So I did mention that I like olive oil and butter, but once again, bacon drippings, duck fat, straight butter, whatever works for you, whatever your family likes. I'm going to let that butter melt just a little bit, get it smoothed out, spread around the pan, and then we're going to add the shredded potatoes. So I did take these potatoes out about half an hour ahead of time. I wanted them to come to room temperature. It's a lot easier using room temperature potatoes than ice cold potatoes. It doesn't lower the temperature of your pan quite so quickly, and they're going to cook a little faster, be a little easier to work with. So I'm going to take a spatula, spread the pans around. Looks like I'm a little shy on potatoes there. Start forming a nice edge. And before I put the pan on, I made sure that I had a plate that was going to fit in it. The plate's really important because that is how we're going to flip it later. So I'm going to let this cook for a little bit, and we'll come back to it. So I did end up turning the temperature down a bit. I'd rather take a little longer to cook the roosty than risk burning them. I can hear it sizzling away nicely here. If you're wondering if it's done, you can just take your spatula, tuck under a corner, take a look. You can see that's nice and brown under there right now. And I'm just about ready to flip them. I'm going to add just a touch of seasoning before I do that, since it's a lot easier to attach the seasoning to the moist side of the potatoes than to the cooked side. So a little bit of ground black pepper, a little pinch of kosher sea salt, now it's the time to flip. Plate, invert. Now this is not the time to be timid. Keep your hand on the plate, try not to touch the outer side of the pan, and it's one fluid motion, one flip. 1, 2, 3, flip. Just like that. Don't be shy. Just go for it. It's like flipping a pancake. Can't do it halfway. Pancakes, the potatoes are not done yet. I'm going to add a little bit more cooking liquid because we're now going to cook the other side. So a little bit more oil. And I should have mentioned earlier, don't use too much oil, fat, butter, because as you saw, you need to flip those pancakes. And if it's sitting in a bunch of oil, that oil is going to run down your hand. And you'll only do that once, but it'd be really great if you didn't do it at all. Once again, just a little bit more fat. Because fat is flavor. And ooh, butter and olive oil. It's a lovely combination. So now, we're just going to slide this right in. Watch the angle. Shake it into the middle. I'm going to save that plate because that's what the finished roosty is going to go on. This will probably take only another 4 or 5 minutes or so. I'll check it just like I did the first time to make sure it's brown. At that point it'll be done, and we'll come back to it in just 5 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, and the roosty should be just about perfect. Once again, hand on the plate, nice and firm, swift motion. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm going to put the roosty into the oven at 170 degrees, which is the lowest temperature you can have for most home ovens. These can be made 2 hours ahead of time. They'll sit in there, they'll be perfectly fine. Gives you plenty of time to get your bacon done, your eggs done if you happen to be doing breakfast or brunch. Plenty of time to get your entrees done if you're doing it for dinner. And it's that easy. For breakfast, we're having roosty potatoes with bacon, sunny-side-up eggs, and tomatoes. But since it's actually almost lunchtime here, I've cooked myself up some andouille sausage, cooked the roosty potatoes and the drippings from the sausage, with some fresh tomatoes on the side. On behalf of the University of New Hampshire, thank you very much for spending your time with me today. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to email me. There will be a link attached to the video. Thank you.